Hey y'all, it's Monica with King's Titan Homestead and Monica Mixa King Honey Farm. And today is a really quick Q&A brought to you by another email. We mentioned in the past that we're going to be starting to do Q&A clips. And so here's one of those. So this is a recent inquiry actually that came to me this morning. And so I'm going to read it to you all. Hi, Monica. We have an olive tree that housed bees for 5 years. I used to cool off the tree in the extreme heat and provide fresh water in the well. That's really sweet. We appreciate hosting them as they pollinated our gardens and have never stung anyone. Wow, you've been really lucky. This April, we noticed some dark bees from a neighbor yard chasing my husband. Then soon after that, we noticed our beloved olive tree bees swarming. We were hoping they were just reorganizing. Unfortunately, they have disappeared. Our theory is that the dark bees may have infiltrated the hive and it collapsed. We miss the pollinators and wonder if there's anything we can do to bring them back. Okay. First of all, in 2008, the United States Department of Agriculture Bee Lab, Carl Hayden Research Center here in Tucson, did genetic testing from samples from olive trees, from swarms, from shed floors, from all over the place. Feral colonies is what we consider them. Feral, wild honeybee hives. Ones that are not in the care of beekeepers. And 98% of those bees tested from the Mexico border to the south rim of the Grand Canyon, 98% came back as Africanized hybrids. 98%. So those bees inside your tree for 5 years were likely the Africanized killer bees. So what happens is that these bees swarm frequently, and you won't notice it. They'll do it when you're at work one day or when you're in the house in the air conditioning and not even noticing or paying attention to what's happening. But I guarantee you, living in an olive tree, these bees expand, they fill back up, and then they have to swarm. This is a natural splitting of the hive that occurs because a queen bee, during a nectar flow or when the flowers are blooming, a queen bee can lay up to 2,000 eggs a day. And those bees start to emerge from their cells 21 days after she starts that process, which means that your hive is going to get just full of bees. And so they have to naturally swarm. This is just a natural occurrence. But what happens? The mother queen, the main queen, the one that's been laying all those eggs, she's the one that leaves. She leaves, and she leaves behind a daughter. Now that daughter emerges from her cell as a virgin queen who cannot lay more bees until she goes out and mates. So she heads out and she meets 15 to 20 drones or male bees on average in her mating flight. And then she's knocked up for good. She doesn't have to go back out and mate ever again. And she's set for, gosh, what is it? Something like 15 million sperm or something like that. She's good. She's good to go. And then she'll swarm when the hive gets so big. She'll swarm with she's already mated. She'll swarm and go establish again. And this is how they kind of like just spread. So your hive in your olive tree in the past 5 years, I can say easily, they have probably swarmed an average of at least 25 times since you've had them in your olive tree. They have literally split and had a new queen take over at least 25 times is my estimate. I could be wrong. It just also depends on the season, how good the nectar flow is, and all that kind of thing. For you to never have been stung by that colony as it changes its genetics every time is amazing. You have been so lucky. Okay, so now to address this black bee thing. Okay. Dark bees from a neighbor yard chasing my husband. Okay, number one, yeah, your neighbor yard might have some other colony living in it ferally that maybe your neighbor doesn't know about. But just because they're dark bees doesn't mean they're Africanized. You can't go by color. You can't go by size. The only way to know if it's an Africanized bee is to actually look under a microscope at the wing structure or send it in for genetic testing. That is the only way. The Associated Press did a article this year, and it was incorrect. I am sorry, but it is incorrect. They showed a dark bee, a dark colored bee, and a light colored bee, and they said killer bee to the dark bee, and they said, you know, European bee to the prettier yellow bee or whatever, and that is incorrect. You cannot tell by looking at them, because guess what? We have carniolan bees that are dark bees. I hope that a lot of carniolans don't get killed because this whole stupid article was put out. It was not correct. You cannot tell by looking at the color of the bee whether it's a killer bee or Africanized bee at all. Africanization is a genetic line. It is not a color or a defensive characteristic, any of that. But we go by, us local beekeepers, go by what our USDA lab did in genetic testing with real research that shows us that 98% of our feral colonies that are not in the hands of beekeepers are actually Africanized. So, how do you get them back? With that said, how do you get Africanized bees back? Well, just wait. They'll come back. Your olive tree has got all these holes in them, and they'll get reestablished. But who is going to reestablish in there? It could be a different... the hybridization is different. Some of them that we meet are actually extremely decent Africanized bees. Apparently you had some in your olive tree all this time that they were not disturbed. But it's that one time when they literally go crazy because something set them off, and they attack in the thousands to defend their colony. And we don't know what causes it, why they might set off. It could be a noise. It could be a scent. It could just be that you walk too close. So what new bees are going to come in and take over your old colony? And so were they robbed out? There's a chance of that. There's a chance that the bees from the neighbor's location might have robbed your bees out, or your hive could have got ants that started to get in there and cause them to abscond or leave. Your colony also could have had a high mite load. They get these little teeny parasites on them, and then once they get too many of them, the Africanized bees will literally leave, or any bees. They abscond. They leave the colony to get away from the parasites. So, with that said, the best way to have bees is to become a beekeeper. Learn the actual way that honeybees live. There's so much in it. So much. I mean, a lot of details. And I can't go into all of that here. But you really should, my recommendation is to close up that olive tree and get your own European colony and learn to become a beekeeper. That's the best way. Thanks for watching. Oh, and if you like to support our channel, please head over to our Etsy store, buy yourself something nice, buy something for a friend. We have lots of things on there. I think we're close to 1,000 items, and I'll put a link to that here below. Thanks for supporting us, and have a great day.